It is 9:03 this Tuesday, November 26, 2019, and I call the Blanco County Commissioners Court to order. Ms. Waller, would you call the roll?
Judge Gray.
Here.
Commissioner Weir.
Here.
Commissioner Eager.
Here.
Commissioner Leisman.
Here.
And Commissioner Darling.
Here.
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Terry Kasparis has signed up for public comment. I think on agenda item 11.
Correct. Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners, Judge. So for once, I think I'm going to address something that's not controversial, hopefully. So we all know how bad the stretch of 281 north of Blanco up to the 281-290 intersection is. I drive that weekly. I'm sure most of us do. We've all seen people pull over the side with flats, blowouts, whatever. I have no idea what the accident rate there is, but it's definitely an accident waiting to happen. So I note that you are going to consider a resolution this morning. I urge you to be very candid and strong in that resolution, and hopefully that's going to go to TxDOT and ask them to take immediate measures to improve that stretch of highway. This morning I took a look at the TxDOT, what they call open data portal, and it shows their projects that are planned for presumably all the highways in the state. For 281, it shows that the stretch south of Blanco is targeted in 5 to 10 years for $87 million in improvement. And we know obviously construction has already started going into San Antonio. The stretch north of Johnson City, the stretch north of that's going up to the Vernon County line, is tagged for $3.3 million in improvements, and that's supposed to start in within 4 years. The stretch that's of concern north of Blanco is tagged for less than $400,000 in improvements. The good news is that's tagged to start soon. There's no definition of what soon is. And, so who knows? I don't know if $400,000 is sufficient to upgrade that stretch of highway or not. It sounds insufficient to me. And to not have a date when work would start, I think is an indication that we cannot rest on this, and we need to make the strongest possible case for TxDOT. Thank you.
Kenneth Welch, numbers 3 and 11.
Do you have a preference? With 3 or 11, do you have a preference?
No.
Okay. I'll just start with 11 since Terry talked about that. I'm Kenneth Welch from Blanco County. Due to the fact that this court voted 2 meetings ago to deny me and others the opportunity to benefit from discussion of agenda items, I must guess what this agenda might pertain to. Section 551.007 of the Texas Governmental Code allows each member of the public to address the body during the body's consideration of the item. It is quite unfortunate that this court has taken the position that the public must speak with little or no information about items or remain silent. This could be rectified with a more thorough description of agenda items, more supporting documentation for agenda items, or by allowing the public to speak during the consideration of the agenda item. I've come to believe that this court, and particularly you, Judge Gray, do not want any member of the public to ask questions or make comments that might enlighten the public at large. Agenda item number 11 poses the possibility of a resolution regarding the condition of U.S. Highway 281. If I'm guessing correctly, I anticipate you intend to complain to the DOT regarding the current condition of US Highway 281 between Blanco and the junction with US Highway 290. I grant you that it is very rough due to what appears to be preparation work in anticipation of a pavement overlay. I wish I had the facts to know the reason without guessing. I hope you have the facts before passing such a resolution. This court has been seen to approve items without the facts or even despite the facts. This happened as recently as November 12th when you voted to approve Kinder Morgan pipeline easements when Kinder Morgan lied to you about the lack of professional engineering approvals for the road crossing permit applications. My parents always told me that those who live in glass houses should not throw stones. Blanco County has unpaved roads and several unsafe low-water crossings that we've discussed in the past. If this court would spend more time planning to improve Blanco County roads and bridges rather than worrying about what TxDOT is doing or is not doing, then Blanco County citizens would be safer for it. People die every year on low-water crossings. These creek crossings are a real public safety issue. I'm providing a copy of my comments for the minutes and for the public record. I will be happy to entertain your questions. Any questions or comments? Okay.
Ms. Deanne Welch.
Did you want me to do number 3? I mean number 11? You called me after both of them.
You have 17 seconds left.
Sure, go ahead.
I'm Kenneth Welch from Blanco County. This morning I would like to discuss the public participation form that you require members of the public to complete when they desire to make public comments during the meeting. I'm providing each of you a copy of my comments and questions. I hope you will answer some of my questions.
Time's up, sir.
Thank you.
Wait, I'm commenting on 2 different items.
I'm sorry, sir. It's 3 minutes.
Per item.
No, sir. It's 3 minutes. Thank you.
Okay. Have you got a ruling from the Attorney General's office on that yet?
No, we cannot. And
Okay. So you're basically making your own laws now.
I'm not going to engage in this dialogue with you. Your 3 minutes are up. Thank you, sir.
So you've imposed a 3-minute total comment time.
Thank you, sir.
Well, you have my notes for the record.
Yes, sir. I'm going to read them,
Be
too.
sure they're in the record.
Ms. Welch?
Deanne Welch, Peyton Colony Road, and I'm speaking on agenda item number 10. I'm pleased for this opportunity to participate in agenda item number 10, discussion regarding nominees to the Blanco County ESD2 Board of Directors. I do not know Lynn McCurdy well, and I do not know Carl Struck at all. Thus, my comments do not reflect on either candidate personally. However, according to Ann Hall's email recommendations, I see that these 2 candidates are currently Emergency Services Commissioners and are seeking reappointment. I hope they are here today or that they will be made aware of my experience with ESD2.
At 8:30 on a Thursday morning, March the 28th of this year, for the first time ever, I needed emergency services from ESD2. But the facility was locked up tight. Now, this is a public facility funded via tax dollars, which promotes itself as always open. A life very important to me was lost that morning, and I'm not saying that the death occurred because the facility was closed. I'm saying that a life might have been saved had the facility been open. What I hope to learn from your discussion today is why our ESDs and our Sheriff's Department have become so understaffed and underfunded. Upon inquiry, I learned that the ESDs are statutorily unable to raise adequate tax revenue to meet a goal of truly being always open. I'm asking the 5 of you Why has the safety and security of Blanco citizens been slighted? And for how long? As you know, I pay property taxes on my 22 acres at 10 times the rate that you surrender for your ranches. And since my land is right here in the same county, it's a very arbitrary taxing system. You have a duty to perform in making ESD board appointments, and as such, a responsibility to me, Judge Bragg. I hope you're paying attention. And since you work for me, you should consider my comments as an evaluation of your work product. Consider this. Counties are not prohibited from financially supporting their first responders, and all roads lead to Rome, Judge Bragg. I'm requesting that the clerk enter my comments, of which I'm providing a written copy, into the public record.
Okay. Before going to item 4, let me just mention to the commissioners that under item 4E, as in Edward, of the Blanco County Commissioners Court Rules of Decorum, it says that it is not the intention of the Blanco County Commissioners Court to provide a public forum for the demeaning of any individual or group. Neither is it the intention of the court to allow a member or members of the public to insult the honesty and or the integrity of the court or any member. I feel that my honesty and integrity are being assailed this morning, and am going to look into what the appropriate measure to take will be in the future. I may be proposing prohibiting public comment by people that cannot abide by these rules. Okay, moving on to the next item. Prior minutes are before you for your review and consideration.
I'll make a motion that we dispense with the reading of the minutes on November the 12th and November the 18th and accept them as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Weir, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I believe there are no line item transfers for you to consider this morning, so that takes us to item number 6, the outstanding bills.
I'll make a motion to approve the outstanding bills in the amount of $91,027.45.
Commissioner Leisman, is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Granberg seconds. Discussion. I'll be abstaining. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? 1. Item number 7. Considering a donation for the minimal electricity use during the non-event hours of the opening weekend of Light Spectacular. The food vendors are scheduled to be lined up along the north side of the street, on the north side of the courthouse next to the annex. And as you remember from previous years, there are, I think, 2 large generators that will be running the lights and whatever else they need electricity for, except that the neighborhood would prefer not to have the generators running all night. So from midnight to about, 6 or 7 in the morning, they're hoping to plug in a couple of refrigerators to keep the food safe and healthy. And they're willing, and that's for this coming Friday and Saturday nights, I believe. And they are willing to donate. I don't see anyone in the room with the Light Spectacular folks, but they are willing to donate $100 to the county for whatever electrical use they might have off those refrigerators. I don't believe there's any way they're going to use $100 worth of electricity, but anyway, that's the proposal.
What building would they be plugging into?
The outside outlets on the annex.
Okay, so typically the outside outlets on the annex are going to be GFCI protected, so it's not really sufficient for refrigerators with motors. So be advised that there's a potential of the GFCI tripping, so that
Which means they wouldn't be cool.
they would not be cool. So just keep that in
Yeah.
mind. You can,
Can you think of any other option?
I don't know, because the Light Spectacular has everything, all these outside plugs here are being plugged in, being used for Christmas lights. I know they will typically shut off at midnight or something of that nature. So, but they're all controlled by a contactor, which is controlled by a time clock, so they would shut off as well. So just because they have power at 11 doesn't mean they're going to have power at 1 o'clock. So,
Those are billed separately, aren't they?
yes, yes.
So we wouldn't even need a donation.
Right, right. But it's just to be advised that they will be running on GFCI protection, and they do have a potential of tripping whenever you plug a refrigerator into them.
Okay, do we want to take the donation or do we not want to take the donation?
We'll accept the donation if they use our electricity. So I'll make a motion to accept the donation in exchange for minimum electricity use during the non-event hours of the opening weekend of Light Spectacular.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Weir, more discussion.
They just need to have somebody check it, make sure if it's tripped, they just reset it.
Correct.
Yeah, but if it keeps tripping, what's the point?
Yeah, they just need to make sure that it's sufficient for them.
Because the refrigerator turn on and off through
Correct.
the evenings, and that's where the main load is when it comes on and off, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah. So it might work for a while, but then not. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if we have any moisture, it's ground fault protected, so it will be
There's no other outlets that can reach.
all the exterior outlets should be protected through ground fault, so that would be the only option that they'd have. But if they utilize our system,
Or
then
running a big cord back to their outlets over here.
to
That's another option.
although I believe all of those exterior outlets are controlled by the time clock that controls all the lights on the courthouse.
Which we don't want the courthouse lit all night.
No, sir.
Kind of
If they decide to use the outlets if they take the chance of using the outlets over there,
Can't go through a window.
we will accept their donation and then using it.
further discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The sheriff has 2 Explorers on deck to be purchased, and the specs and request for approval are before you. If you have any questions, the sheriff is here.
I'll make a motion to approve the specs and for the purchase of 2 2020 Ford Explorers for the Sheriff's Office as outlined in the capital equipment portion of the budget at the amount of $35,693 each.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Eaker, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. There's a 2002 Mazda pickup. One of you might remember, it says it was seized by law enforcement. I'm not very familiar with this vehicle. It's sitting in the precinct 2 yard
Yes, sir.
and is of really no use to us. So we'd like to declare it surplus and get rid of it.
I'd like to make a motion declaring the 2002 Mazda pickup as surplus property and authorization to list on Gov Deals.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
I got Commissioner Granberg first. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. If we could go back for just a moment. I know we've already taken action on item 7, the donation, but I noticed that Mr. Eaker walked in. Can you come up for just a minute? And introduce yourself with the microphone.
Okay. Hello.
We had to rearrange.
You're Myron Eager.
Okay,
Right.
okay, Myron Eager, I work. I'm in charge of the market day that's going to be here this weekend.
And let me just stop you. The Commissioners Court voted to approve accepting the donation of $100 in favor of the electricity. But Commissioner Leisman points out that all of those electrical outlets are ground fault protected and might not support a refrigerator.
So just be advised, typically the GFCI ground fault circuit breaker, the plugs, have a tendency of tripping whenever a refrigerator is plugged into them. So you want to, all the exterior plugs on that building will be GFCI protected. So you need to make sure that, you know, don't just plug it in and walk away. So that's my only.
How many amp does the breaker have?
It's a 20 amp breaker, but the ground fault, any moisture or anything in that nature will set those. They're very sensitive, so you don't typically in new construction you don't plug refrigerators into ground fault stuff.
Okay.
So that's just an FYI.
What about in there a plug underneath the porch going to the coffee room? That's not out in the open.
But it's still exterior plug and still should be ground fault protected.
Okay, but that one would probably be less likely to trip because of the weather or not?
It could be where your cord plugs in at the refrigerator location. So anyway, it's just something for you to watch. We're more than happy to accept your donation and let you plug in there. But if you see that it's not feasible, I just want you to be advised that they are GFCI protected and you have the potential of them tripping the GFCI breaker or the plugs.
Okay, that's good to know. Because one of the vendors has a generator available if possible. You know, during the day we'll have the big generators hooked up and we'll have a spider box that they'll plug into. So it won't be any problem during the day, it's just at night when they want to leave their product.
Right. So, and the other thing that I would like to point out, since you did come up to the stand, is please don't paint on the drive.
We've agreed. It's going to be wet, so first we asked for chalk.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Eaker says chalk doesn't work so well when it gets wet, and if I understand it right, the prediction is for rain. And so we've agreed to unless the court would like to take this up, we've agreed to water-based paint, and he has a professional,
Somebody will come in on the
That's fine.
Monday and spray paint it all on, or spray, power wash it all on.
That's fine.
Power wash.
I just don't want a bunch of spray paint all over the
Okay. No, it'll be
permanent spray paint.
It'll be water-based, so.
That's fine.
And I've got somebody that will come in and pressure wash it off.
Okay.
If it had been dry, which would have been nice, you know, we could have done it with salt, but, and I do have a number of them. We're going to have security on Thursday night this time also, so we have some vendors setting up on Friday just to kind of alleviate the rush on getting everything in there on Friday morning and stuff, because I have to have it out. Everybody has to be unloaded by 10 so that the bungee and all that can set up at the end, you know, that's a part of Light Spectacular deal there.
Yes, sir.
And since you're here, can you remind the court how many vendors you're going to have?
We have 72 booths for regular vendors, actually 74. I've got 2 off to themselves, Kettle Corn and another one.
And your waiting list?
And then there's 16 or 17 total for food vendors, but that, you know, like a food trailer is 2 spaces. And I've got 3 actual food trailers. And then the rest of them will be booths that'll be doing the food. And the food will be all along the sidewalk by the courtroom and stuff. I have some maps if you'd like to have some, you can see, you know, if you want to see, you know.
And you have a waiting list?
We've had a waiting list of 15 or 16 since the 1st of October. I had one cancel yesterday, so I made somebody real happy. We moved somebody in. But, and then about right after the deadline for paying, we went 3 of them on the waiting list because they had to pay by a certain date and they hadn't paid, so we moved some in. But it's been the demand, you know, surprising with all the things that are going on, you know, with Country Peddler, Fredericksburg, and Trade Days, and this year, it's got this response. I tell you, I think there's going to be a crowd the way they've been advertising it.
Good.
Yeah. Any other questions? Thank
back to item number 10, you'll notice that this is, I put this on as a discussion item only, or an informational item only, in the anticipation that we would do like we normally do and vote on appointments for ESD boards in December, or first thing, I think we've been late one time and done it early January, but the point is it was not intended to be today. Today was intended to raise public awareness of it. I have been approached, about the idea that there needs to be more opportunity for people to try to get on these boards. And so the regular way is that I've been used to is to receive notification from the chair of the two ESDs about the status of the existing members that are up for election, whether they want to renew or not, and any new folks that the chairs or their nominating committees have identified. So this was meant to lay out before the Commissioners Court and the public that the Commissioners Court, I guess, will be considering appointments to the ESD boards north and south, maybe as early as December the 10th. And you have, I think, the information before you that shows that both in the south, Mr. Struck and Ms. McCurdy are up and able, willing, and ready to serve again. And in the north, it's Mr. Gallerano and Ms. Odian. That's wrong. Okay. So moving to, unless there's anything more on item 10, moving to item. Just to finish that thought is, I've never seen ever in my life a U.S. highway this bad. That I have, but they at least had road equipment and barriers, and it was like an overnight fix because it was an emergency. This has been going on and on and on. I know that commissioners have had personal involvement with officials. I've gone to the highest level I know to go to at TxDOT, and there was a Sunday night patch or fix, and that's about all that I've seen. And I'm just as frustrated as can be and don't know what to do about it. I've never seen a county, I've never seen TxDOT not pay attention to a county as much as they are on this road. I've just never seen it.
So to advise everyone, TxDOT was in the process of milling this morning. They were going to mill up 2 inches, and they were going to do a hot mix overlay of 2 inches. We did have a double fatality accident that shut down 281 north of Cypress Mill Road. So that has delayed my trucks because they had trucks that was coming out of Marble Falls to go down there, so they could not get there. As soon as the road gets reopened, the milling people are actually on scene to actually mill it, and the trucks are at the plant ready to be loaded. So hopefully, I don't know the status, maybe the sheriff does, but hopefully the wreck has been cleared up and those trucks are in process, and they're in the process of milling it right now and fixing that. So it does not excuse the lengthy time it took. I know that they did go in there and they milled out 9 inches and they shot it back with some cement stuff to stabilize that road, try to stabilize it and get it up. I thought that they would have went ahead and sealed it at that point, did a level up and then topped it at that point, but I don't know what the snag was on that one. But I do know that it's in the process of getting fixed today.
And they'll work on it over the next tomorrow, and then they've got to be off Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Yes, sir.
And then they'll come right back to work Monday if needed and work through next Saturday or whatever it takes, right?
Yes, sir.
And we will receive a lot of criticism about doing it over the holidays, holiday traffic.
Right, and that's part of our, that's what we signed up for.
It would be nice though if occasionally we could do something about it.
I agree, but, politics, so
But then you also had the McCall Creek situation, which took so long to get that repaired after that accident on 290. There was a lot of complaints about that
Right.
situation.
That was equally frustrating. The excuse was the metal piece was coming out of Asia.
Or the contractor couldn't fulfill the contract. It was,
yes. So, I will give props to our local district here because, for instance, us in the emergency management world and the sheriff's office, today we had a double fatality. We pulled them off of everything that they were doing to come narrow it down to one lane, redirect traffic, and direct traffic for us. So whatever they had scheduled for today just got pushed off because we had a double fatality. Now they're working pretty much for the county. So I have to give them compliments. They do work well with us. And maybe just a little bit more pushing on the area engineer to get more funding for our state highways here in Blanco County would be the only thing that I can suggest. And I don't know.
I don't even believe the buck stops at the area engineer. This is because there can't be any way that they don't know in Austin how bad it is out here based on social media. There's just no way they can not know that.
And we've told them over and over again.
And an area engineer can only work with whatever he or she has.
Correct, and I agree to that.
It's kind of like, to me, it's just one extension removed of our local people, and I know how we feel about our local people. We're proud of them and support them, and they're the ones that get to go out in the middle of the night and fix patches and whatever.
Judge, I get the feeling that the shots are being called from farther in Austin or higher up the hill to where the local and regional areas are kind of cut out of the part. It's only my opinion. They're kind of cut out of part of the on the ground work itself. It's kind of directed out of another area.
Coming out of Austin.
And there's social media posts that show the same construction 10 years later. So on a TxDOT road, not in Blanco County, but so it's not just us, but yes, I mean it's really easy for TxDOT to throw a lot of money on I-35 and I-10. So they should not neglect our county, our state highways.
I guess my biggest problem is, you're right, and having been at TxDOT, I know that no matter how big it is, it's always a limited pot of money, and you've got ginormous counties and other things going on. I get all that, but if you're going to tear it up, it'd be nice if you put it back.
I agree.
Don't tear it up if you're not ready. If you don't have the funds, if you don't have the money in the bank to fix it, don't tear it up.
And a little bit on that is that was a special crew that came in to do that. It wasn't our locals, and they just kind of did what they did and walked away. So I don't, that's above my knowledge.
Well, I've been told it was an experiment.
That's what I heard too.
Okay. Well, is there any? Do you all care to take any action, or are we good with this? We've made it public. Our feelings, I think, of frustration
And we do often when we're at the meetings in Austin, and I call it the major bypass, because 35 is so congested and they're working on it. We're taking 281 up to 29 and cutting across. That's been part of our conversation for years now, and it seems that they're busier on the east side of 35.
authorize me to sign.
You authorize the county judge to sign the amendment to the Capital Emergency Communications District. Some of this information, trying to get it.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Eaker, discussion. This gives authorization, does not direct me to sign it, and I'm not sure I'm ready to sign it based on my conversations with Ms. Strickland and the Capcom folks. We're still, aren't we still, don't we have motion carries?